Hi everyone! You get to see Frumpy in quarantine, homestaying me right now. Nor what's behind you. I probably should have done this before. I was setting up for a virtual market that I'm going to be making a video for. But I decided right now, probably a good time to record and say what I've been wanting to, but have been hesitant to. Um, We all know it's not a good time anywhere in the world right now. It's a giant fucking shit show. But I wanted to share my experience so far. I might get emotional. I'm gonna try and do this in a way that I don't have to edit anything, just because I don't have the energy to really do much right now. Like, that fucking weirds me out. I don't know if I'm gonna actually record that video yet, because I kind of want to nap. But I can sit here and just talk. That I have the energy to do. Um, So some of you on my socials or on my Twitch channel know I've been MIA for a while until this week, and that is because I did have COVID-19 symptoms. I will say my test did come back negative, which is fucking surprising to me, but it came back negative. Now, whether the tests are reliable, I don't really fucking know. Whether the test was performed correctly, because they have to be done in a certain way, I don't know. But what I went through, if it wasn't COVID-19, was fucking terrifying. And it makes me wonder if it's worse for those who have a positive diagnosis. And I will also say, I know a lot of people personally who've had the same, if not similar, symptoms that I had who also came back negative. So there's talk about a virus mimicking COVID-19, and this would be in Washington and Utah at this point. And that's fucking crazy. If that is what's going on, we are living in the most fucked up sci-fi horror reality. Cause that's, yeah, it's fucking crazy. So my experience really started on March 15th. I did have some minor symptoms a few days before, some fatigue. I'd already been really stressed about Emerald City Comic Con preparation and then cancellation and all that. So I honestly put it off as I'm just tired from all the stress and the changing, like the shit that I went through that entire week was utterly exhausting. And I decided that Saturday night I was gonna drink. So Sunday I wouldn't want to get out of bed. I didn't feel right. I was like, I'm just probably hungover. But I had a tightness in my chest. And that was when I was like, okay, so maybe I need to watch my symptoms a lot closer. So I started documenting every day, even the slightest little thing, because you can change so quickly with COVID-19. So that day I was pretty much laid out in bed. I couldn't do anything, I couldn't get up, I just could breathe, but I just had a tightness in my chest. The tightness persisted for the most part for several days. I did have more energy. Not quite Monday a little bit, but not fully. Tuesday, Wednesday, I was feeling a lot better. I was able to work and get things done. But come Thursday, I was laid out again and I couldn't talk. Like, I mean, I could talk, but you could tell something wasn't right with me. So I decided that day I wanted to call the virtual clinic because I had at that point the symptoms I had experienced were cough, runny nose, sore throat, diarrhea, extreme fatigue, no appetite. I think I lost 6 pounds with how little I was eating over this period. But I'm eating normal again, so that's good. Um what was the other? My phone's in the other room, and that's where my notes are. Those were the main things I experienced. I never got a fever. So when I called in, because I am somebody who is autoimmune deficient, I am type 1 diabetic. Everybody under the sun who knows me personally knows I do get sick a lot. So I called the virtual clinic, was in the queue for nearly 2 hours before I got kicked out, and they were so swamped with calls that the app wouldn't even let me log back in to get in queue again. Like it was fucking ridiculous. And I was exhausted after that. I just wanted to sleep the entire time, but I was afraid if I slept, I wouldn't hear the doctor when they were available. So after a 3 hour nap and eating some little bit of dinner, I got in queue again for another hour and a half. Um, just to be told, yes, I want to test you, but because you don't have a fever, and even though it's hard to breathe, because at this point I was struggling to breathe, we can't test you. You're not severe enough. I got vetoed on wanting to test you because of how mild majority of your symptoms are. But if things changed, call us back, go to the emergency room. I was like, okay, fine, I get that. I didn't want to flood the system, but the breathing was getting harder. So I just tried to rest for 2 days, but I had issues getting the prescriptions that they needed. So instead of resting, I fought for nearly 48 hours to get medications to help me breathe. Never done an inhaler before. That was a weird experience. That's a whole other, yeah, that was a weird experience. So I finally got the medications and I just rested and hydrated. And that following Sunday, I've got to look at it at this point. Yeah. So the 16th is when I spoke with the virtual clinic. The 18th is finally when I got my goddamn medications. The 19th, I was like, okay, my D&D people are going to be playing virtually. I haven't played D&D in months. I'd really like the distraction. It was also at this time that I finally said something on my personal socials about my symptoms and what's been going on. So I got a lot of support, which I greatly appreciate everybody, but it didn't help my breathing. It's fucking weird to say, but I couldn't sit up for more than an hour without struggling to breathe. I couldn't hold conversations effectively with my husband, let alone on the phone. And D&D on top of taking phone calls wiped me out. I had to lay down for nearly an hour before my breathing balanced out. And the tightness in my chest was still there, and that didn't dissipate until about midnight. It was terrifying. I almost went to the ER that night, but I gave myself the timeline because I didn't want to flood the system if I can keep on breathing on my own. So the timeline was if I got to the point that I needed the inhaler again, not needed it, but the time to take the dose again came and I was still struggling. I was gonna go to the ER. So didn't go that night, but I did tell people like I appreciate your support, but please don't call. I can't talk on the phone. It is physically distressing. I can't sit up to talk. I do have some recordings of Marco Polo that I'll play just so you can see how hard it was just to talk and breathe. So I just got off the phone with the doctor. The lab did not freak out on me. She wants me to get tested, but my symptoms aren't severe enough that she got vetoed because of how few there are. She's actually going to try and schedule me tomorrow for the drive-through. But she got vetoed on that since I'm not severe, but she is giving me medication for the tightness in my chest and to help with my cough. Um, Morning, sending you an update earlier than you requested yesterday, letting you know I am okay. I learned a valuable lesson yesterday about my limitations. I almost did go to the ER. I cannot sit up and talk for more than like 10 minutes right now. I did set a time if I couldn't get my breathing to calm down by the time I did my nighttime inhaler, then I was gonna go to the emergency room, but I was able to get it to calm down and stay calm. I'm pretty much a useless fucking human being. I can't do anything. We're gonna try talking. Um, just cause, yeah. My breathing was doing well enough last night. I didn't take my inhaler in the middle of the night. I still had my alarm set. But things were going well enough that I was like, no, we'll see how I feel in the morning. Um, 9 o'clock is what has been my morning time, but I can start whenever because I didn't take it. So, anyways, breathing's a lot better today. I haven't really done anything yet. So Monday morning rolls around, and my family convinced me to go to the ER because I was already struggling again, just dealing with text messages and their concern, and I went into the ER, and it was the fastest ER experience ever. They did not want me there, which was fine because I didn't want to be there, but I was honestly building up to this. I was afraid if I went to the hospital, I wasn't coming home. I don't have a will written out. I've been wanting to do that, but the legal fees I haven't been able to come up with right now. So I even wrote instructions for my husband. Which is not a fun thing to do, but it's an important thing to do. Um, we were both really afraid of what was going to happen, but luckily my test came back really in a good way. They x-rayed my lungs and they were clear. They did an EKG. My heart was good. If those tests came back differently, they were going to do blood work, but we didn't do any blood work. And they did the COVID-19 nasal swab, which is hella uncomfortable. Like, fuck no. Stay the fuck home so you don't get symptoms, because that was not a pleasant experience at all. Um, so at that point, they're like, we don't know what's going on. It could be COVID. You definitely have a lot of the symptoms, but we'll see what the test is. So, um, testing was so backed up at the point I was told it would be 4 to 7 days, if not longer. Chances are you're gonna feel better by the time we get the results. I was pleasantly surprised when I got an email through the healthcare system to my chart, which is a medical communication system, if you're not familiar with it, that a lot of providers in the United States use. That my test came back negative, and I first didn't know how to feel about that with what I went through. There's talk about the antibodies and helping resist future getting the disease again. We don't know for sure how that works, but that's how viruses have worked in the past. And a part of me is like, with all I went through, if I don't have the fucking antibodies, that was stupid. That was terrible. That was fucked up. I'm grateful that I didn't get in the hospital. I'm grateful that I'm doing a lot better. But that doesn't unvalidate my experience. And I wanted to share some of that with you. Besides the having to literally lay still and do nothing to keep breathing, it was really hard to not be able to really interact with my husband beyond. I would talk across the room, sit on the opposite ends of the couch. I would sleep there sometimes. But it was really hard to not be able to hug him or cuddle, having to spend as much time as I could in other rooms, not be able to help cook food, not be able to do anything for myself. So if you do know anybody who is in self-isolation, definitely do check on them, see if, especially if they live alone, if they need food dropped off or groceries or any help like that. I did I was like this for over a week. And I'm still, today's the April 2nd. I still fatigue extremely easily. My appetite's back to normal. but it is challenging to do the workload I was doing before I got sick. I'm not there yet. I'm fucking trying. And then I'm out for a day. Like, I can't do anything. But I can breathe. So I can breathe at least. So that's my experience. I don't know if there's a point to all of this, but I felt like it was important to get out there because people still aren't taking it serious. And if what I went through wasn't COVID-19 and is some mimic virus, like, you don't want to get this to your family. You don't want to go through it. Stay home, wash your hands, don't touch your face. I mean, we all hear it everywhere, but it's important to social distance. It's important to stay home. It's important, as much as it sucks, to isolate if you think you have it. One thing that my husband and I did talk about through all of this is he was in New York the end of February for work. My symptoms started 12 days after he got home, so in that incubation period. So he was terrified that he got it, was asymptomatic, gave it to me, but he could be the reason I might have died. And I went through wondering if I gave it to people, even though I didn't interact with a whole ton of people, if I gave it to any one of them and passed it on. These are things that went through our heads. These are the reality of it. So if you're not taking it serious, please do. And I'm grateful I didn't end up in the hospital. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to not have any issues breathing anymore. I guess that's all I have to say. I don't know. But I hope this helps some people out there who might be going through this sickness. Their loved ones might be, and we can get through this, but we need to get through this together, yet apart. So, from my dark heart to yours, have a wonderful day, and please don't die before my next